Yes, my people, it is your boy VRD, and today we are back for another commentated drive. In today's video, we will be taking I'm not even sure what train it's going to be, but I'd assume it's a Class 375 Electro Star, down from Rochester to Faversham. We've travelled over this section of track once or twice before in previous videos. The only difference this time is that we're going to be calling at all stations. Those being Chatham, Gillingham, Raynham, Newington, Sittingbourne, Tenham, and finally Faversham. So, like I said, we're down here at Rochester Station. Our train is due in about 5 minutes' time, bound for Dover Priory. So, I'm gonna edit down the video. I'll catch you guys in a bit. Okay, so our train is now pulling into the station. I'm not sure how much carriages this is comprised of. I think eight. Yeah, eight carriages. You can see it stopping at the eight carriage stopping position here. I mean, it could be four carriages, but normally you get eight carriages on this service. We'll just enter the cab now. Yep, eight carriages. So we're just gonna configure these doors quickly, sit in the driver's seat, take command of the service, set the DRA, quickly come over here and turn on our safety systems. Sit back in the driver's seat, insert the master key, move the FNR switch into the neutral position and acknowledge the AWS self-test sequence. Now I'm going to immediately open the passenger doors. We have a green signal, so I'm going to reset the driver reminder appliance. And I'm also going to open up these windows. So we're at our scheduled departure time, but as you can see, there's still a bunch of passengers boarding the train, so I'm just going to wait for them to jump on. I think that's everyone. So yeah, we have a green signal. There's no CCTV monitors fitted to Class 375s, so we're going to poke our head out of the window, just look backwards. In reality, we would be assisted by platform staff, especially on a platform like this with a curve. You'd either be assisted by platform staff or you would have CCTV monitors situated on the platform. Anyway, whacking the door close button. Waiting for that door interlock light to illuminate, which it has done. Still have a green signal, so I'm going to move the FNR switch into the forward position. And I'm just going to test the whole start button as we move off there. So pulling back on the PBC into the power notch 1 position, releasing the whole start button, and the train should begin to move away. And just a quick look back as we pull off there. Now going to up the power to power notch 3. Speed limit departing Rochester station is 30 miles an hour. I feel like I forgot to mention something quite important, but I can't really I can't really think of what it might be. Anyway, we're approaching 30 miles an hour, so I've just reduced the power to notch 1. We're on a bit of an upward gradient at the moment, so that's gonna severely affect our ability to accelerate. So power notch 1 should almost have us balanced at 30. I'm just shutting off the power momentarily there because we were about to break the 30 limit, but power notch 1 more or less does the job at maintaining 30. See, we're back down to 27 miles an hour now, so selecting power notch 1 again and just bouncing between power notch 1 and off on this specific section of track. That more or less helps you maintain 30 miles an hour. We are now entering, I'm not sure what this tunnel's called. I'm assuming it's called Rochester Tunnel, but I might be wrong. And Chatham Station is at the end of this tunnel. So again, just bouncing between power notch 1 and the off position. You can't actually see the PBC at the moment, but you can hear the motors sounding and cutting out. And now I'm making a brake step 1 application shortly after entering the platform. here at Chatham Station. Momentarily increasing that to brake step 2. I feel like I'm gonna need brake step 3 because we're coming in a bit too hot here. Yeah, brake step 3 just for a minute. Back down to brake step 2. Down to brake step 1 for the stop. Overshot it very slightly but not significantly. Full service, neutral, door release on the left. Another check that you should actually do that I don't really call out is just ensure that the number of carriages comprising your train corresponds with where you've stopped. So you can see 4 carriages, 6 carriages, 8 carriages and 10 carriages. Trains comprised of those amounts of those, oh gosh, trains formed of these numbers of carriages, poor grammar there, are required to stop at this stopping position. So yeah, just double check that before opening the doors as well. Green signal, looking back along the platform, pressing the door close button. And to be honest, I looked back, but there's actually a CCTV monitor here, so I could have looked at that as well. Even though it's not functional, I could still look at it as if it was functional. So yeah, I'm just gonna glance at that. That's all fine to me. Door interlock light has illuminated. Green signal. FNR switch into forward. Selecting the off position momentarily. Power notch 1 as the brake cylinder gauge reading falls there. Just glancing at that CCTV monitor as we pull off. And up to power notch 2. I'm not going to select power notch 3 at this specific location because I think I've mentioned this before as well. The speed limit increases to 50 miles an hour very shortly. So I'm going to try to avoid reaching 30 miles an hour until the speed limit increases to 50 miles an hour. And that is just so we can maintain a constant rate of acceleration rather than accelerating and then running on momentum for a bit and then continuing to accelerate afterwards. It's better to just constantly accelerate. Although that being said, I'm probably going to have to, yeah, just momentarily selecting the off position there. I feel like I should have reduced the power to notch 1 a bit earlier than I did, but it's not the end of the world. In fact, it's not an issue at all. But it's just the way I prefer to drive. I'm a bit of a perfectionist. So we passed the 50 board there. Speed limit is now 50 miles an hour. So I've selected full power there. Power notch 4, whatever you want to call it. I think the tunnel that we just left was Chatham Tunnel. This tunnel we're entering now is Gillingham Tunnel. Speed limit increases to 60 miles an hour on entry into this tunnel. And Gillingham Station is not far beyond the exit of this tunnel. So yeah, I decided to do a nice little sunset run. I feel like a lot of my runs are during the night, which isn't too good, so I just thought I'd do a run that was in daylight. I was about to continue waffling, but we're approaching Gillingham Station. So up to 60 miles an hour, just selecting the off position on the PBC, and I'm going to make a brake step 1 application about now. And I'm going to increase that to brake step 2 around now. Aiming to enter the platform at, I'd say, I was going to say 30 miles an hour, but 35, okay, fine. We should still be able to stop in the correct location without needing power notch 3. Although it is going to be, I said power notch 3, brake step 3, I mean. That being said, note brake step 3 momentarily. Back down to brake step 2, down to brake step 1, releasing. Back up to brake step 1. Perfect stop. Full service neutral doors on the left. Oh, 8 carriages. Yep, fine. Yeah, door release on the left. I'm gonna try to calm down a bit. I think I'm driving a bit too recklessly. I'll humble myself a bit. In the last video that I recorded, I was driving in the opposite direction in the same train, and at this exact station in the opposite direction, I must have entered at about 40 miles an hour, which you can get away with as long as you select brake step 2 reasonably early, but I decided to select brake step 2 at the last minute, and I almost flew off the end of the platform. I had to select the emergency brake position to stop my train ASAP. So yeah, if you haven't seen that video, go and watch it. It was quite hilarious, I can't lie. Anyway, enough waffling because we're starting to run a bit late. Green signal, looking back along the platform, pressing the door close button. It's a class 700 over there. It's a very enjoyable train to drive, the class 700. Anyway, looking back along the platform again, door interlock lights have illuminated and we have a green signal. Selecting the off position, sorry, F and R switching to forward, then selecting the off position, waiting for the brake cylinder gauge reading to come down, then selecting power notch 1. You lot know how it goes by now. And then looking back along the platform as we pull off. Next station is Raynham. Speed limit is 60 miles an hour. So as I was saying before, yeah, I just decided to do a bit of a... It's not a complete daylight run, but there is a significant amount of sunlight at the moment in game. So yeah, we're just approaching 60 miles an hour now, so I've reduced the power down to notch 1 just to decrease our rate of acceleration. Speed limit is now going up to 80 miles an hour, so I'm gonna go back into the power notch 4 position. I feel like the quality of my commentary decreases when I record videos after work, because that's when I'm recording this video. I've just come back from a 8.5 hour shift, so I'm exhausted. When I record videos in the morning, my commentary tends to be a bit sharper. I can think a bit more clearly, but right now, yeah. But it is what it is. Okay, so you just left a right hand. Oh my gosh, what am I talking about? We just exited a right hand curve. The signal at the end of that right hand curve is a good place to get a brake step 1 application in for Raynham Station. And we now have a flashing double yellow signal. That tells us that in 2 signal spaces time, we will be taking a diversionary route. I'm also going to increase the braking force to brake step 2 or 50%. Back down to brake step 1. So our next signal is going to be displaying a flashing single yellow aspect. And then the signal after that will be showing a solid single yellow aspect with a route indication. In this case, that route indication will be a position 1 junction indicator. So 5 white lights pointing diagonally upwards to the left, telling us that we're going to be taking a diversionary route to the left. So I've been in brake step 1 the whole time, but I'm just releasing the brakes now momentarily as we get, why is that so loud? As we get closer to our stopping position here, a bit of a slow approach. Okay, up to brake step 2, brake step 3 again, back down to brake step 1, releasing, and brake step 1 for this. Oh no, full service neutral, doors on the left. So I've used brake step 3, entering 3 stations in a row. That is poor. That is very poor behavior. Oh no. Anyway, as I was saying, so there's our flashing single yellow aspect there. So the signal after that, it could be displaying any aspect, but I think it's going to be displaying a solid single yellow. Anyway, looking back along the platform, pressing the door close button. I'm going to drive a bit more aggressively now because we're starting to run late and that can't run. Door interlock lights have illuminated. Final look back along the platform. Ethanol switching to forward. Final glance at the signal as well. Releasing the brakes. Power notch 1 as the brake cylinder gauge reading falls below 1 bar. Final look back along the platform. And full power. Tell a lie. Power notch 3 because I'm anticipating a single yellow signal. So I don't want to get up to too much speed. Because as we all know, single yellow signal means that the signal after that is red. And you never want to pass a red signal. Ever. In your life. Don't do it. I also forgot to mention the speed limit for the diversionary route is 60 miles an hour. So here's our signal now with the route indication. You can see it's a single yellow, so I'm immediately selecting brake step 1. But it's jumped up to green, so I'm releasing the brakes now. And the speed limit is currently 60 miles an hour just as we turn off onto this track here. And there was a board there that was very hard to make out, displaying the number 80. So speed limit is now 80 miles an hour, full power. So we're now on the 4-track running for a very short distance until our next station, which is Newington. And at the other side of Newington station, the tracks converge and go back to 2-track running. I thought the speed limit was 60, where it's 80. I was about to shut off the power there. And we have what looks like a double yellow signal. Shutting off the power. In fact, I'm going to make a brake step 1 application from now, just to have a bit of a controlled approach. Acknowledging the AWS warning regarding this 40 board. Speed limit reduces to 40 at the other side of Newington station. I mean, I have a single yellow signal. That tells us that we have a red signal at the end of Newington platform. So Newington station is just hidden around the corner here. We're down to 30 miles an hour. I'm going to release the brakes momentarily, but I'm still keeping in mind that we have a red signal at the end of the platform. So back into brake step 1, down to 25 miles an hour, aiming to be doing 20 as we pass over this AWS magnet here. Yep, that's fine to me. Just acknowledging the AWS audible indication. Down to 15 miles an hour, so releasing the brakes. We are currently on a bit of an upward gradient. I'm not sure if I already said that, but I said it now. So yeah, our ability to decelerate has increased a bit. Back into brake step 1. I'm not making the same mistake 4 times in a row. Up to brake step 2. And there's no stop board here, so I'm just gonna stop around here. The end of the platform is where you should be stopping. Yeah, there we go. Just with the signal in view, that's a pretty decent place to be stopped at. Full service, neutral, door release on the left. We are late. We are a minute late. And there's our 40 board there. So speed limit drops to 40 just there. And increases to 70 miles an hour when we join the tracks to our right. Signal is also displaying a green aspect, by the way. It changed to a green aspect as we got closer to it. Looking back along the platform, pressing the door close button. Door interlock lights have illuminated, green signal. Final look back along the platform. And we're on an upward gradient, so I'm going to use the whole start button to move off here. There we go. Green signal still. Final look back along the platform. And I'm going to go straight into full power, because we should be clear of the 40 limit by the time we reach 40 miles an hour. So yeah, you can see we just passed the 70 board there. It's a very, very, very short section of 40 miles an hour. Literally just for the section, the junction there. We're now passing a whistle board, that board with the letter W in it. That warrants a blast of the low tone of the horn. And we should be passing a second whistle board very shortly. And the speed limit increases to 80 miles an hour at the exit of this right hand curve. Here's our second whistle board coming up now. And there's our 80 board, so speed limit is now 80 miles an hour. Although I'm only going to accelerate up to 75 miles an hour. That is due to the fact that we are now on a downward gradient. So the summit of the gradient was around the area of those two whistle boards. We're now on a downward gradient. So you can see our speed has now roared up to 80 miles an hour. Around here is where the gradient levels off. And that signal that we just passed would be a good place to get a brake set 1 application in for Sittingbourne Station. But because we're running late and I'm trying to make back some time, I'm gonna brake later and harder. So this bridge coming up here is a good place to get an immediate brake step 2 application in. Of course, only do that in dry conditions. Avoid doing that in the leaf fall season or wet conditions, because you're going to go ice skating. And again, just aiming for 30 miles an hour as an entry speed into Sittingbourne Station. So we're down to 40, but we're a bit far out from the platform, so I've just reduced the braking to brake step 1. 35, down to 30, bang on for the platform. And the 8 carriage stopping position is towards the end of the platform here, but not all the way at the end. Just upping the braking force to brake step 2 because I can see the stopping position coming up. Back down to brake step 1, back up to brake step 2. Oh, okay, brake step 3 again, fine. Releasing, brake step 1, releasing again. Where is it? There we go, brake step 1. Okay, my driving has been absolutely atrocious today. Full service, neutral, 6 to 10, 8 carriages, yep, door release on the left. And we're still 3 minutes late anyway, so what was the point? Oh no. So far, I've used brake step 3 coming into every station apart from Newington. But I feel like I would have used it at Newington as well if it wasn't for the red signal at the end of the platform. Because there was a red signal there, I naturally have to come in a more cautious manner. Anyway, green signal, look back, door close button. Door interlock light has illuminated, green signal still, final look back. F&R switch into forward, power notch 1, brake cylinder gauge reading has fallen. Final look back, final glance at the signal, power notch 4. Speed limit is 80 miles an hour. Next station is Tenham. Tenham station is very awkward to stop at in this direction. In fact, it's awkward to stop at in both directions, but I think this direction is a bit more awkward for me because it's on a steep upward gradient. Very odd. Because I don't normally stop there as well. Most of the time I'm flying through there at 90 miles an hour. So judging the braking point is a bit of a challenge. The sunset does look beautiful though, I must say. It's currently September the 5th. September the 5th is the day that I'm recording this on. Just acknowledging the vigilance there. However, when I set the game date to September the 5th, it was a bit too dark. The game was a bit darker than it was then how. Oh my gosh, what am I talking about? The sky in the game was darker than the sky in real life when I synced up the game time with real time. So what I actually had to do was backdate the game date a bit. So I think the game date is set at July the 5th. That's why it looks a bit brighter. Anyway, we're up to 80 miles an hour and okay, yeah. See, it always catches me out here. There's a right hand curve that we just came out of, and then there's another right hand curve after this straight section of track, and Tenham station is after Whistlewood. Yeah, so we have this other right hand curve coming up now, and then there's a bit of a straight section of track. Tenham station is along that straight section of track, so it's just very awkward to stop at. It's very easy to lose your situational awareness. But yeah, just remember when you depart Sittingbourne, I'm gonna get the brakes in from now actually. Yeah, just remember when you depart from Sittingbourne, you got left hand curve straight for a bit. Whistleboard again. I'm actually gonna increase the braking as well because we are coming up hot on Tenham station. Very hot. Brake step 3. Hot. 40 miles an hour. Cool, blabby. But yeah, so it's on an upward gradient anyway, so we're good. Back down to brake step 2, down to brake step 1. That always happens, that my commentary gets interrupted. And here's our stopping position here. Back up to brake step 2, back down to brake step 1, releasing. Come on, there we go. Brake step 1, perfect. Full service, neutral, door release on the left. As I was saying before I got rudely interrupted by a near station overrun. Yeah, you depart Sittingbourne, left hand curve, straight for a bit, right hand curve, straight for a bit, another right hand curve, then get the brakes in after that second right hand curve. That's how I remember the braking point for Tenham Station. Anyway, look back along the platform. Oh, there's still people boarding, so yep, everyone's finished. Door close button. Actually, yeah, we don't have a platform starter here, so door close button. Yep, that looks fine to me. Door interlock lights have illuminated. FNR switch into forward, holding down the hill start button because we're on a severe upward gradient. Power notch 1, releasing the hill start button, and I'm gonna blast the horn quickly just because there's a level crossing right here. Up to power notch 4, just looking back along the platform very briefly. Next and final station is Faversham, and that will be the end of this disastrous commentated drive. So yeah, I used brake step 3, entering every station apart from Tenham. Newington station, guys. I meant Newington. Hopefully I'm not going to need it at Faversham, but I'm not going to be surprised. Speed limit is 80, increasing to 85, and then it will shortly be increasing to 90. But then shortly after that, it will be decreasing, sorry, down to 75. Then not long after that, it will be decreasing down to 60. So yeah, it's a very high workload between Tenham and Faversham. So there's our 90 board that we just passed now, but we are not going to get anywhere near 90 miles an hour before we are required to decelerate down to 75. We're currently doing 75 now, so I'm probably going to let the speed roll up to about 80. I say roll up, I'm probably going to accelerate up to 80. We're up to 80 now, shutting off the power. 75 limit commences at the end of this right hand curve, and we were on an upward gradient, but we're now hitting the summit of that and we're going downhill into Faversham. So I'm applying the brakes now. We're down for the 75 limit in time, but I'm going to continue decelerating down to 70 because of the downward gradient. We're now releasing the brakes, sounding the horn, acknowledging an audible AWS indication regarding the warning board of the reduction down to 60 miles an hour, sounding the horn for another whistle board, acknowledging another audible AWS indication for this double yellow signal. Now going to make a brake step 1 application again. That signal being double yellow tells us that we have been cleared into Faversham station. If the signal before it was a double yellow, that would mean that the signal protecting Faversham station is currently displaying a red aspect. Speed limit is also falling to 60 miles an hour. There we go, single yellow signal. So we have a red signal at the end of Faversham platform. So just applying brake step 1 there. Gonna increase it to brake step 2 around now. Yeah, okay, like I said, I'm probably gonna need brake step 3. Actually, I might get away with it. Yeah, I got away with it. Down to brake step 1, releasing, and we were doing 20 miles an hour for the AWS. Oh my goodness, AWS magnet regarding the red signal at the end of the platform, which is perfect. Up to brake step 2 immediately before I end up flying through this red signal, which won't be good because then I'll have to go back to the beginning and record this again. Trying desperately not to fly past the stopping position there. Perfect. I wasn't even calling out what I was doing with the PBC. I was just, that the workload was too high there. Anyway, full service neutral. We have a red signal, setting the DRA, releasing the doors on the left. Oh, that was a disaster. Anyway, we're now going to surrender command of this service to the artificial intelligence. So F1R switching to off, releasing, not releasing, removing the master key and deactivating our safety systems. Now get out. Oh yeah, close the windows as well. Now get out, get out, get out. Oh my goodness. Okay guys, thank you for putting up with that. Um, that was probably one of my worst commentary runs. It was so bad that it's making me want to go back and record it again, but I'm not going to. But yeah, I appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day to watch this video, listen to me talk. I appreciate the support, I really do. The next commentary run will be a return journey to St. Pancras International from Faversham. So I'm not sure if you guys noticed the pattern that I did. I did St. Pancras International down to Faversham, Faversham to Rochester, Rochester back down to Faversham. Then we're going back up to St. Pancras now. So the Faversham to Rochester services, they stop at all stations. Actually, some of them skips the in-between stations, but the ones that I drove stopped at all stations. So I did that on purpose just to demonstrate to you guys what it's like driving a service that stops at all of the stations. And then the class 395 Javelin, the high speed train, that skips some of the stations. So I'm going to be driving that back up to St. Pancras, same way I drove it down from St. Pancras to Faversham. Anyway guys, like I said, I appreciate the support. Constructive feedback, criticism, more than welcome in the comment section. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Love.